A long time ago, there lived a family in a small village. There were two brothers in that family, Richard and Robert. Their parents had passed away. There was no one to take care of the house or cook food. So Richard, the elder brother, got married early. He worked in the fields and also kept cows and buffaloes. They had a lot of ancestral property. But Richard and his wife Grace were very greedy. They always tried to cheat Robert. Because of Grace's words, even Richard started deceiving his younger brother. Robert was very honest, simple, and innocent. He always respected Richard and Grace and spoke very thoughtfully. But Richard and Grace mistook his simplicity for weakness. Deep inside, however, Robert was very clever. Richard and Grace didn't just hurt him with words. They also tortured him every day. When Robert could no longer bear their cruelty, he went away to his cowshed. He thought, "It's better that I live separately now. I'll ask for my share of the property." He gathered courage and said to Richard and Grace, "I can't live with you anymore. Please give me my share of the ancestral property. I'll live alone." Richard and Grace were overjoyed, as if they had got what they wanted without doing anything. They immediately agreed and cheated him badly. They gave Robert a small, barren piece of land where nothing could grow. For living, they gave him a tiny hut near the cowshed, whose roof leaked during rains. For ploughing, they were supposed to give him a pair of oxen, but they gave him one old bull who couldn't even walk properly. They gave him no cows or calves, and for food just one sack of corn, and for seeds a single measure of maize. Robert didn't object to anything. He thought, patience is the best solution. Though deeply cheated, he didn't say a word, but in his heart he thought, "I will take my revenge someday." One day, the old bull was sitting sadly in the cowshed. He looked at Robert for a long time, and then said, "Master, I have grown old. I can't work anymore. But I will tell you a secret way, and after that, you will become rich." Hearing this, a ray of hope lit up in Robert's heart, as if light had entered his dark life. His face began to glow. He said eagerly, "Can I really become as rich as the landlord of this village?" The bull nodded his head, moved his ears, and said, "If you follow my words, your days will surely change." Robert said curiously, "All right, tell me what I have to do. If it's something I can do, I'm ready." He went near the bull and stroked his head. "You are my companion, my friend. Who else do I have besides you?" He became emotional. The old bull said, "If you promise to do exactly what I say, only then I will tell you the secret." Robert hesitated a bit, then said again and again, "All right, I promise. I promise 3 times that I will do exactly what you say." Then the bull whispered the secret in his ear. Robert's face turned pale. He couldn't speak and fell to the ground. The bull said, "You will not be punished for this. I am telling you this of my own will. You have taken an oath. If you break it, you will commit a great sin." Robert was terrified of breaking an oath. He knew well a vow must never be broken. Though his heart didn't agree, he took the bull and went away. After some time, they reached the cornfield of the richest landlord in the village. Standing in the middle of the field, Robert thought, What should I do now? The bull ate 8 or 10 corn plants, and from a distance it looked as if he had ruined the whole crop. The bull said, "Hurry up! If anyone sees us, everything will be spoiled." Robert took the bull to the place the bull had told him and left him there. At once the old bull died. Robert somehow made the bull stand on his 4 legs and put a cornstalk in his mouth so that it looked as if he had died while eating. Then he quickly went up to a high hill near the cornfield. From there he shouted loudly, "The bull is eating corn! The bull is eating corn!" Hearing this, the greedy landlord ran to his field with a stick in his hand. When he saw the bull eating corn and the plants broken and trampled, his anger exploded. He hit the bull hard with his stick. The bull fell down and died. The landlord looked around fearfully to make sure no one had seen him. Seeing the dead bull, he was sure it was over. Then, from the hilltop, Robert shouted, "You killed my bull! You killed my bull!" He came running down, crying loudly, "Stop! Don't kill the bull!" The landlord stood there, silent and terrified. Robert said, "If he had eaten my crop, I wouldn't have complained. But you killed my bull. I will go to the court." At that time, killing a cow or a bull was considered a great sin and crime, punishable even by death. The landlord, scared and nervous, said softly, "Son, don't go to the court. Don't tell anyone that I killed the bull. Say that your bull died by itself, it was old. I will give you many silver coins." Robert thought quickly and said, "All right, as you wish. I don't want to get you in trouble." The landlord took him home, gave him a sack full of shining silver coins, and said, "Take this, son. Run your household well." Robert was overjoyed. He carried the heavy sack home, placed it in the grain storeroom, and slept peacefully. The next morning he went to Richard's house and asked for a measuring bowl. Richard, being cunning, thought, "What will this beggar do with a measuring bowl?" Still, he gave it but smeared a bit of cow dung on the lid. After Robert left, Richard said to Grace, "What could he possibly need that for? Maybe to measure some maize or millet. Perhaps he wants to show that he's earned something." Meanwhile, Robert went home, locked the main door, and opened his storeroom. He untied the sack and poured the shining silver coins onto the mat. He filled the measuring bowl once, then emptied it into the sack. Each full measure gave him 1 extra coin. When he counted, there were 10 silver coins in all. He was amazed and said, "Just 1 sack and so much wealth." Then he tied up the sack and put it back in its place. He returned the measuring bowl to Richard. Richard took it and went inside. He and Grace looked closely and saw a silver coin stuck to the cow dung on the lid. Their eyes widened in greedy delight. They said, "Where did this beggar get silver coins from? He must have found some great treasure. I will trick him and get everything out of him," said Richard to Grace. "We should also earn money the way he does." It had been many days since he had met Robert. Robert was busy with his work. One morning, after finishing his daily chores, Robert went to visit Richard's house. The greedy and cunning Richard greeted him with fake affection and said, "I haven't seen you in so many days. You look weak. Were you ill? I was just planning to come and see you." Robert smiled and shook his head. "No, not ill. These days I'm just too busy with work, sometimes at the market, sometimes elsewhere. Come inside," said Richard warmly. "I have something important to talk about." Robert thought to himself, "Strange, he's never asked me to come in before. His intentions must be bad." So he said, "No, I'll sit here." He sat down on the steps. Richard came and sat beside him and asked softly, "Brother, tell me, in that small measuring bowl, how did you get silver coins? You must have more coins, right?" Robert laughed lightly and said, "Did you see my old bull in the cowshed? It had been sick for days. I took it to the landlord's village and butchered it. I sold the bull's meat at the fair. These are the silver coins I got from that." Then he laughed aloud. Richard and Grace looked at each other and whispered, "We should do the same. Let's take our strongest bull to the landlord's village and cut it too." So they went to the landlord's village, taking their big, strong bull along. They killed the bull, cut its meat into pieces, but no one came to buy. Then Richard tied the meat pieces in a sack and began distributing them door to door in the landlord's neighborhood. Soon the news spread. "He's selling bull meat." The landlords were furious. They came running, caught him immediately, and tied him up. Some even slapped him. One landlord shouted, "Take this wicked man to the court. He's killing and selling bull meat." Richard fell to his knees, folded his hands, and begged for forgiveness. He cried bitterly. The landlords finally forgave him, but only after he paid a heavy fine. To pay the fine, he sold his land, even his fertile fields, and gave all the money away. After that, his condition became miserable. He thought angrily, "My brother Robert has tricked me. He is the reason for my ruin." He became even more furious and planned revenge. One day, he caught Robert at home. He and Grace tied him tightly inside a sack. As he tied it, he gritted his teeth and said, "Now I'll take you to the big river beyond the forest and drown you. I've tied a big stone inside the sack. Once you're gone, all your wealth will be mine." Inside the sack, Robert stayed silent. He didn't say a single word. Richard tied the sack with a rope and with Grace's help lifted it up. Then he set out through the forest, carrying the sack. After walking a long distance, he became tired, completely exhausted. He crossed the forest with great difficulty. But when he reached the river, he couldn't gather the courage to drown his brother yet. He placed the sack on a tree branch, took a deep breath, and thought, "Let me cook and eat first, then I'll drown him." He went to the riverbank, built a small mud stove, and began cooking food. Inside the sack, Robert heard the sound of horse hooves on the road. He peeked through a small hole in the sack and thought, "Who could this be?" It was the greedy landlord, coming on horseback along the same path. The clever Robert immediately made a plan. He took out his silver coins, shook them inside his measuring bowl, and began singing softly. "Money is being made. Money is being made. By the forest side, by the river side, inside the pit, money is being made." The silver coins clinked as he sang. The landlord heard the sound and thought greedily, "What is this? Someone's making money here." He tied his horse to a tree branch and came near the sack. "Who are you? "What are you doing? I hear coins jingling inside." "From inside," Robert said, "I am a traveler too. This is a sack that makes silver coins. I am inside, making money right now." The landlord's eyes sparkled with greed. "Traveler, is it your turn now? Will you let me have a turn too?" The voice replied, "My turn isn't over yet, but if it's only for a short while, yes, I can let you in." The landlord quickly opened the sack and let Robert out. He saw the shining coins in the measuring bowl. His greed exploded. He swallowed hard and said nothing. Then, without thinking, he jumped into the sack himself. Robert tied the sack tightly and said, "All right, landlord sir, make your coins carefully. If anyone calls you, don't answer, or the coins will stop forming." Saying this, he mounted the landlord's strong horse and rode home swiftly. Meanwhile, Richard finished cooking and eating. Now he felt strong enough to drown the sack. He came to the place where he had left it. As he approached, the landlord, trapped inside, called out, "Hey boy, are the coins ready yet? They're almost done. Soon I'll have a sack full of silver." Richard, burning with anger, shouted, "You scoundrel!" He lifted the sack, carried it to the middle of the river, and threw it deep into the water. Before the landlord could say another word, he sank and drowned. Richard quickly went back home. When he reached his yard, he froze in shock. A big, powerful horse was tied outside, and Robert was sitting happily drinking milk. "No, I drowned you in the river. How are you here?" Richard cried, rubbing his eyes, as if he couldn't believe what he saw. But it was real. Robert smiled proudly and said, "Are you asking whether the money was made or not? You won't believe it, but the sack that drowned in the river gave me these coins and this horse. You should be thankful because by throwing me in, you brought me great fortune." Richard's eyes gleamed with greed again. "If he can do it, I can too," he thought. He took Robert aside and whispered, "Brother, put me in the sack too. Throw me into the same river. I'll come back with a sack full of coins and a big horse." Robert said softly, "Brother, if I drown you in the middle of the river, you won't just bring coins. You'll come back riding an elephant with as much gold as you can carry. But promise, don't tell anyone." Richard, blinded by greed, said, "I promise, I'll tell no one. Just throw me in, I'll come back on an elephant." He began dreaming of palaces, elephants, and servants. The next morning, he said to Grace, "Wait for me till evening. I'll return riding an elephant with sacks of gold." Then he went straight to Robert's house and said eagerly, "Brother, prepare the sack. I'll get in, you carry me." Robert smiled. "Brother, I can't carry it so far. You take it yourself. I'll wait where I sat last time. I'll come from another path." Blinded by greed, Richard didn't think twice. He picked up the sack and hurried along the forest path. When he reached the same place, Robert's horse was already tied nearby. Robert helped him climb into the sack, tied it tightly, and fastened a large stone at the bottom. Then, with great effort, he carried it into the river. Standing in the middle, he said softly, "Farewell, Richard. Now you will ride your elephant in heaven. Forgive me. I didn't want to do this, but I had to." From inside the sack, Richard shouted, "You cheat! You'll be cursed for this." But Robert laughed. No, brother, not a cheat. This is revenge. Greed has always blinded you. I didn't bring you here. You came yourself. Goodbye. He let go of the sack. It sank deep into the river, and within moments, Richard was gone forever. Robert rode back home on the horse. Now there was no one left to plot against him. He lived a prosperous and respected life in the village. As for Grace, she waited all her life, hoping her husband would return one day, riding an elephant, carrying silver and gold. But he never came back. If you liked this folk story, please like my video and subscribe to my channel, because your love and support give me strength and new courage to create more beautiful videos to entertain you. Thank you so much.